Hi everybody, in this video I'm going to be walking through how to create the star for the passenger base for the IED class. It's the Autonomous Blocks T9 vehicle. The reason I bring this up is because whenever I made the video last time, so the one that most of my students have watched up until this point, I was working off of this set of dimensions. And so they had an outer circle, an inner circle, and then a pentagon in between, right? And you'll notice what's happened is they've actually updated the dimensions. The 0.488 is still there, so that's kind of nice. The 0.363 is now gone. I actually preferred that method, but what's nice is they gave us this 0.187 for the line length here. So we can actually do this star a heck of a lot easier now that we know the length of that line. So I'm going to walk you through how to create, based off of this set of dimensions, the star for the passenger base of the Autonomous Blocks T9 vehicle. Okay, so here's where I am right now. I've already created most of this, and I've locked everything into place. You'll notice everything's fully constrained. Nothing can move. That is a big deal, okay? The first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw a construction circle. So I need to make sure this is checked. And I'm going to go ahead and draw it here. And I believe, I should go back to my dimensions, it's 0.605 for a radius, or diameter, excuse me. And so I've got the size of it correct, but I don't have the location correct. We're going to knock that out in just a second. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and create a polygon. It's going to be a 5-sided polygon. So a pentagon. It's going to be hooked in to the center of the circle, so that green dot's important, and it's going to come out here and land on the circle. It is also a construction line. I'm done with construction line, so I'm going to uncheck that. Now, the nice thing is now that I have this pentagon, this yellow dot is where these 2 points meet, and I can dimension to that dot. So the 0.488 here and the 0.050 here can be dimensioned. So I'm going to do that before I go any further, and that's going to lock these two guys into place. So the dimension height-wise is 0.05, and the dimension from here to here is 0.488. Okay, so that's locked in place. It says it needs one dimension, and by the way, my students struggle with this, beginners struggle with this. Anytime it says one dimension and you're not really sure what it is, what's wrong with this? Isn't it locked in place? Isn't the size set and the location set? We'll come down here to this little light bulb here, and you'll see what it's showing me here is that this pentagon here can rotate. Well, so in other words, I could take this and I could probably drag this around. I don't know where to click, but what I know is this. I know one way to keep it from rotating is to make sure that this thing has to remain horizontal. So when I click on that, it says, okay, can't rotate anymore, you're good. So now we're done. It's fully constrained. Everything here is locked in place. Now the fun part, let's go create the star. Okay. The first line that we draw is the most important one. We need to make sure that it has a length of 0.187 when we draw it. So I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to connect on this green dot so that in location is located. And before I click again, I'm going to type in 0.187 and I'm going to hit enter. Okay. So the length here is set in stone while the angle is not. Okay. It can be any direction. Now I'm going to go and I'm just going to draw the rest of the star as quickly as I can. So green dot here. I'm going to click on this green dot and come out here. I'm not really worried about dimensions, you'll notice. I'm going to right click and I'm going to choose OK. All right, now, before we go any further, what was strange to me is this line is dark, like it's constrained, where the rest of them aren't. That's a problem. Okay, sometimes whenever you draw things in Autodesk Inventor, it's a very intuitive program. Like it can guess, for instance, if I drew a line here and I said, look at this, I'm going to make it completely vertical. Okay, you'll notice that it put that that vertical constraint right here. You can even see it. It says it's vertical. Okay, even if I didn't mean for it to be vertical, it's vertical. Okay. And I think maybe something like that happened over here as well, where if I hit F8 on my keyboard, yep, there you go. See, that thing's locked in to be vertical, and I don't necessarily want that to be the case. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to delete that constraint. Okay. Furthermore, I can see something else that's going to cause a problem in a second, but we're not going to show it yet. I'm going to hit F9 and get rid of those constraints for now. Okay. So I have one line dimensioned in length. And I have the rest of them that are all wonky and whatever length, okay? And I'm going to use the equal constraint just to make them all the same dimension. So I click there and I say, well, if this one's 0.187, so should this one be. Whoa, that's weird. You see how this and this one all changed. And they're not necessarily where I want them to be, but what in the world happened? Well, let's go hit F8 again. And what I can see here is, okay, so just basically by the way I drew it, it guessed that these two lines needed to be parallel. That's not necessarily the case, so I'm going to delete that. And then over here it says these two need to be perpendicular. Well, that's weird. That was a complete accident, so I'm going to delete that one. And then I see that this one is no longer dark blue, so I'm back to normal, right? I'm going to hit F9 so you can see a little bit better. Let's go back around the star, and I'm going to go equal constraint all the way around until I get everything to turn dark blue because it's been locked in place. That's interesting. We'll get back to that one in a second, okay? Kidding me? All right. Now we come to an interesting situation here. I've run across this problem a few times. I'll be honest with you. The easiest way to get rid of this, if it does something weird like this, is I'm going to get out of the equal tool. I'm just going to delete these lines. I'm going to redraw them, okay? It's meeting all the commands. You know, it's equal in length, and it's doing exactly what you told it you want it to do. It just went the wrong direction. So when something like that happens, don't be afraid. Just delete the line, go and redraw it, get it close, and then we'll go to the equal constraint a few more times. I'm glad actually this happened during a video because this happens with students, and students often don't know how to progress. So, oh, that one already exists. There we go. Star is drawn. Right click, I choose OK. I'm going to finish the sketch. And now that I have the sketch finished, you should be able to go and extrude backwards a distance of 0.3. And you get your passenger base started. There are a few things left to do. You're not done. Okay, you need to fill up the edges here. So you would need to go through and pick the correct edge and start filleting around it. And I don't know what the dimension is. I didn't look. And also, another thing you're going to have to do is, after you get done with the fillets, you're going to have to go through and flip it around to the back side and shell it out. Okay, so make sure you get that. The thickness of the shell is 0.01, and you just click on this face, and it shells out the back. Okay, which is a pretty nice little feature. You can't do that until after the fillet, by the way. Okay, so you do have a few steps left after the star, but hopefully that video will show you the new way to draw the star. It does highlight a few of the problems that you're likely to run into, and should make it a lot smoother.